to 1,198 in the financial year 2024-25. This will consequentially graduate Uganda into a lower middle-income country if maintained for 3 consecutive years. But where does this leave Uganda's agricultural sector and the key stakeholders that contribute to its various value chains? This coming financial year 2022-23, Uganda's agricultural sector has been allocated 1.26 trillion shillings dedicated to agro-industrialization. However, the question is, are the systems to enable great yield from this investment in place?
At the household level, and that is where the focus of government is now, we have to support the processes of production. And our production is in agriculture. The land is there, small size, big size, so we can do intensive farming. We can also do extensive farming. We just need the logistics to support.
On the other hand, a lack of implementation of standards is challenging the sector's development from yielding its potential. A good example is in the grain sector.
According to the Uganda Grain Council, 85% of the grain that leaves Uganda into Kenya is through the informal sector, which means it's actually unprocessed. I know that because I'm from Tororo. Now the Kenyans are actually coming and buying gardens. He parks the truck there, he paid for his garden that he planted, and they load the corn right from the field onto the truck and leaves and goes into Kenya. What are the implications? It means standardization and quality issues are going to be major. Aflatoxin, when it comes, you can't be deny it isn't there.
The head of state, however, reiterates that this is not a complex challenge.
We just need to deal with a few quality and biohazard issues. The issue of aflatoxins will be dealt with by the proper harvest and drying methods, as well as the method of embracing the biotechnology.
Similarly, the dairy sector is facing an uphill challenge with more efficiency needed in the export of milk since hitting 2.8 billion litres in 2022.
The door to our dairy exports will be opened when we, the cattle owners, vaccinate our cattle twice a year. If the government does not have the money to pay for the vaccines, we, the farmers, can do it. I am a farmer. I am one of the farmers, as you know. With 1,000 cattle, I would need Uganda shillings 15 million in a year for foot and mouth disease. With 1,000 cows, what is 15 million? I can pay this.
To this extent, the East African community also presents immense opportunities to boost Uganda's agricultural sector earnings. The potential for business in the East African community is immense now that new member states bring new opportunities onto the table. However, much needs to be done in terms of standardization.
Recently we had the occasion to discuss that particular issue because the Kenyans have entered certain agreements with other blocks on their own. And then when looked at it, they actually different from us because they're already in the middle income. We others are still falling. So we have to work to bring each other up to the same level.
The government of Uganda's agro-industrialization program budget has increased from 1 trillion to 1.269 trillion. Wadulo Makanold, UBC News in Kampala. As government plans to roll out the parish development model, fruit farmers in Nwaya district in the Acholi sub-region are concerned about the unavailability of ready fruit markets in their area. Let's take a look at these details.
In 2019, government of Uganda pledged a multi-billion fruit factory in Nwaya district, but the project has delayed.
We need a factory, and we don't need a factory with poor machines, because with the fruit industry, you must meet the standards.
Farmers in Nwaya district opened up land, making the district one of the most cherished fruit-growing districts in the country. Dr. Juliana Adieri is a prominent fruit farmer in the district.
We started with 200 acres. Every year we've been adding 100 acres, 100 acres. Today we have 1,000 acres of mangoes. 50%, that is 500 acres, are fruiting. We have 200 acres of guava. We have 200 acres of citrus.
She has also started up an agro-processing institute.
This is a farm. It was not easy, the institute. We had to make the bricks, we had to mine the sand, we had to dig out the stones. We built it here locally. It has taken 5 years.
The hands-on skilling is not going to require a special standard of academic score. Whoever has the ability, whoever has the heart, will definitely come and benefit from this infrastructure.
Despite their efforts, fruit farmers lack access to market.
The local market is narrow. This mango produces a lot of fruits, and we always have a heavy harvest, but we don't have a reliable market. So this make me to ask Dr. Adieri openly that where is our factory you had been talking about?
If we don't have the market, where will our women take their products? Because if she's extending her hand to our community women, and then the women grow all these in their farms and acre, the president has been advocating for the an acre model farming. Where will the market be?
With a Daylight Fruit Farm established in the area, many want government to support families in order to gain from the fruit farming endeavors.
Any investor who wants to invest with us, so long as they are ready to invest in the equipment, they can come, we invest, and we set a factory here in part of the institute, because I don't have a choice.
It is about unity, bringing our people, our local people, to join hands with the Daylight Noya agribusiness to do great wonders for our people. I want to thank them that they have been a source of inspiration for our people.
As the team from Uganda Media Center visits the area, the presidential representative in the district, Omara Christopher, promises that the government will soon heed to the farmers' calls.
I think something will happen, and particularly in a follow-up of what His Excellency has already made, we shall make a follow-up. But also there are options. People should not be discouraged that now there is no market, now there is no factory. All these people will be absorbed in the situation.
The Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, Ruth Nankabira, has urged locals in Busoga sub-region to support government efforts geared at fostering social and economic development. Now, this appeal was made in Bugweri district during a fact-finding mission on rare minerals exploration by Rwenzori Rare Metals Limited in Busoga.
Residents of Bugweri, Mayuge and Bujire districts have assurance that they won't be evicted from their land to pave way for mining exploration. Geological studies by Rwenzori Rare Metals, including drilling, have revealed over 532 million tons of ore containing earth elements in the 3 districts.
Of course, the project comes with disturbance because we are going to use the land which they are seated on. So my coming here is to throw light on this company which is going to mine the resource. Rare earth metals are indeed rare. We come next to China. The deposits are big.
The visit by the line ministers follows the recent visit of the Prime Minister, Robina Nabanja, to the region. During her visit, Nabanja directed a halt to activities by Rwenzori Rare Metals Limited to mine rare earth minerals in the area until locals' concerns are addressed.
Me, I'm just at home because of land. Also, I want to work. I want to work. I'd go to Nairobi. But just because of these Rwenzori people, they are the one who brought me here. I found when they have already measured. At home I told the Rwenzori people, please, now we measure for the second time. He said, no, we have already finished.
So we need to engage them. They have genuine reasons they are raising. There were MOUs which were being signed, and they were not in the local language. Some of them were told that they are surrendering their land, and that's it. And the MOU, there were no prices, there were no costs for the land. So they were asking, what is this that we are signing? So I had to throw light on that, how the resettlement will go, how the compensation will go, what about customary land, how is it done?
There is significant upside for further growth in Makutu sub-county in Bugweri district, with only 25% of the current targeted exploration area drilled.
The investment into the project is in excess of $10 million, and it will be a lot more so we can get our mining license application in. In terms of investment size, the final financial investment decision has not been taken, but we estimate the investment to be around $100 million, and we intend to start commercial production in the first quarter of 2024.
Rare earth minerals include cerium, dysprosium, erbium, europium, gadolinium, holmium and lanthanum. These are essential for the manufacture of medical equipment, smartphones, laptops, electric car batteries, among others. Dennis Igoa for UBC News.
Bank of Uganda has launched the 2021 Financial Stability Assessment Report, showing a continued resilience of the banking sector amidst tough economic conditions. However, downside risks to financial sector performance and economic stability still remain high.
The slow domestic and global economic growth, high risk of capital flow reversals, geopolitical tensions and inflationary pressure from structural impediments in the global supply chain threaten to destabilize Uganda's financial sector.
Events in the external sector tend to happen in Uganda with a lag. So Russia and Ukraine are fighting today. We haven't yet felt the effect yet. What we are seeing today is from 2020. The lag has come, basically the chickens have come to roost for COVID. For Russia and Ukraine, that is for next year. There is a lag.
Overall, systemic risk in the banking sector remained moderate in 2021, supported by the reopening of the economy and strong capital and liquidity buffers to cushion against shocks. At the inaugural Financial Stability Symposium in Kampala, Bank of Uganda committed to act with timely and decisive policy responses to emerging risks affecting financial system stability.
So as long as you have government bonds and you have some liquidity challenges and you are a bank and you are eligible, borrowing is automatic. Emergency liquidity assistance, on the other hand, as I've pointed out, is a last resort. To access it, you must have exhausted your government securities, for example, meaning you cannot access the other facility. You have to be solvent, so we cannot lend to a bank that is collapsing, that is insolvent. And then thirdly, the Bank of Uganda will put you under more intense monitoring and supervision on a daily basis.
A key downward risk to financial stability is the continued pass-through to domestic inflation of global shocks and the knock-on impact of the financial performance of households and enterprises.
We've seen an increase in prices of some of the imports, energy, wheat, for some, because apparently we're importing quite a bit from that region, fertilizers, but the full impact of this event, that is Russia and Ukraine, will only come next year. What we are seeing is think of it as the appetizer of the impact. So what I will do is respond to the appetizer of the impact, not the main cause. Okay? The Kenya election. They have in the past, they've always tended to see some adjustment in flows around that direction. Perhaps there's an expectation that some of the businessmen or entities in Kenya might temporarily move some of their assets to Uganda while they wait out the outcome of the election before they promptly move back to them again.
Chinese investors in Kachiri Town Council want government to urgently fix the electricity challenge in their area of operation. They attribute the unstable power supply for inefficient operations, idleness of workers and destruction of machines.
These two factories set up by the Chinese investors in Kachiri Town Council are praised for transforming livelihoods through providing jobs for the community. Sky Pipes Plastic Enterprise and Zonkai Electronics manufacture products for the local and regional market.
We're exporting around East Africa. That's our main market, Kenya, Congo, South Sudan. We hope to again do business with Rwanda, currently Egypt. So, yeah.
How much are the factories, 2 factories valued at?
There are 3 factories, as you said. They're about, you're looking at about $50 million. Yeah, that's the investment. And you saw the bare land where we want to also put another factory.
But there are concerns from the investors, and they are seeking the intervention of the Ministry of Energy. Unreliable and unstable power supply to the factories is not only affecting production, but also causing idleness among workers.
When power goes off about 6 to 8 days a month, that's a lot of time. You're looking at people not working when power is off. You're looking at machines getting short circuits. So all those are challenges that we've been facing. But apparently, we've been given a positive response, and we believe results will be good. Yeah.
To help address the challenge, Ruth Nankabirwa, the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, has ordered for a diagnosis of the power distribution line within a week.
What is the problem? Is the line very old? Do we need new transformers? What is the problem? I thought that I will have my technical team here. I am head of policy. I'm not going to explain technical things. Who is here to answer this? What is the problem?
The feedback is expected to inform the next course of action.
Unreliable. That is something that the ministry can come up in spontaneously to solve this problem. So I am here to acquaint myself with the problem of unreliability of power. What is wrong with the line that is supplying them? What can we do? As we prepare to distribute power at 5 cents, can we see the power that they are using, however expensive it is, can we see that power being reliable?
She also encouraged the investors, especially Zonkai Electronics, who produce timber products, to invest significant resources in biodiversity conservation and tree planting. Dennis Igoa for UBC News.
Soaring fuel prices are complicating the recovery of the global aviation industry from the unprecedented impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, John Jamin, the country manager of Emirates, believes that an uptick of air tickets prices is inevitable. Despite the over 100% rise in jet fuel prices, the pressure on airfares has been relatively low.
Emirates is one of the 2 flag carriers of the United Arab Emirates, owned by the government of Dubai Investment Corporation. The airline, with 7 days a week flights to Entebbe International Airport, has been resilient, having operated on the route for over 2 decades.
That is a thing to be proud of, and obviously Emirates is very honored to serve the market of Uganda, and we're happy to continue to do that, obviously, and we're trying to give the best experience to our market, and for Ugandans that's always a great thing, because Ugandans like to travel. So again, we're very blessed and honored to serve the market of Uganda.
All was well as the airline recorded massive growth of customers until 2020, when the coronavirus struck. The impact on the aviation industry for all operators was unprecedented, says John German, the country manager Emirates.
Definitely look forward to the future, because recovery is there, and yeah, we definitely see a lot of green shoots coming up. But nevertheless, it is really challenging still.
But with the reopening of the economy, there are glimpses of hope for recovery. But as the aviation industry hits its stride, another crisis threatens the bottom line, and that is the exponential rise in jet fuel. Jet fuel is the single largest operational expense, accounting for over 30% to 60% of expenditure in an average year.
Everything goes in a cycle. When prices go up, eventually they will come down. But it is difficult to gauge when that is, yeah. Can we protect ourselves from it? Well, yes, in a way we can, but it is through other means, meaning more efficient use of our aircraft. Technology-wise, we're trying to come across much better.
Although jet fuel prices have risen by over 100% globally, until now the pressure on airfares has been low, but that may not last long as an uptick in air ticket prices is inevitable.
Does that mean that there are costs involved? Yes, for sure. And we have to be honest towards the customer as well, that yes, there will be a part of the cost towards the customer, but in the end of the day, the experiences and the worth that we bring into the proposition that we're having will take precedence, we hope. We hope that we can show that by giving the best offer in the sense of the experience that comes with it is the one that will also justify the higher fares that we have to allocate now.
All in all, Emirates ranks the Entebbe route among its most viable in the continent, and with the growth of bilateral and trade ties with the United Arab Emirates, the future looks brighter.
The market has a little bit of changes in the sense that more players are also coming in now. We have also the own flag carrier that I think is incredible that they've started. So for us, yes, the route is always economically viable. It is just now a matter of trying to figure out the balance between supply and demand, and where and how long can you maintain it, right? If you look at that, it goes in waves, and it always will go a little bit in cycles. Sometimes, I have to be honest, it isn't always that pretty, but we always look ahead and we see that the outlook is positive in Uganda.
Dennis Igor for UBC News.
Relatedly, on the global scene, oil prices in Turkey have almost tripled in 1 year and severely affected the economy. With the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine, higher global oil prices and the devaluation of the Turkish lira, Turkish oil prices will continue to climb.
Gideceğim mi? 20 kilometre gideceğim, hepsi bu.
I can drive no more than 20 kilometers with what I've just refueled. In the past, I could drive all day for my business with 100 lira, which is about $5.84 of gas. Now, when we go to the bazaar, things are very expensive. When we go to the supermarkets, they are also very expensive. When we go to gas stations, it's the same too. We are really fed up. What can we do? Do we have to push the car?
Müşteri sayımız da düştü.
The number of our customers has dropped drastically, and our sales have dropped as well. In the past, they always topped up the fuel tank, but now no one does that, as now a full tank of fuel can cost at least 1,600 lira, which is about $93.48, or 1,700 lira, which is about $100. So those who can earn the minimum wage can't afford it. Many people earn minimum wage in Turkey. That's why sales of our gas has dropped so much.
I think it is important that what has been budgeted for is spent on. It is important that we live within our means, because this is a period post-pandemic which is a very difficult period. So it is important that every shilling counts. It is important that even the government offices create ways of cutting costs and minimizing duplications. It will be important that you spend on more activities that directly bring money back to government coffers.
In our Sounds of Business, we give you a glimpse of leisure and economic activities of the Ras Al Khaimah in the United Arab Emirates. Ras Al Khaimah, the northernmost emirate of the UAE, is known for its beautiful Gulf beaches. Enjoy. Uganda's budget is read annually in the month of June. But as a citizen, do you know what the national budget is? A national budget is a document prepared by the government presenting its anticipated tax revenues and proposed expenditure for the coming financial year. Thank you for being a part of this week's episode of the Weekly Business Roundup. With me, your host, Wadulo Mark Arnold. Catch us next time, same place. From the team, I must say good night.
Your Excellency, good afternoon. Your Excellency, at the outset, let me thank you for giving this opportunity for this delegation and High Commission to call on you and gain from Your Excellency's profound strategic understanding of the region and the world. Your Excellency, this delegation from NDC, their visit to Uganda is a symbol of our deep and broad bilateral relation and close ties between our countries. And our cooperation has been especially very good in the area of defense. Our defense cooperation also witnessed a very good progress, Your Excellency, in the last 1 year or so. I have the honor to inform a few developments which happened in our defense cooperation during the past few months, Your Excellency. Hindustan Aeronautic Limited and UPDF have been able to sign an MOU for maintenance and supply of spare parts for Ugandan Air Force. And after this MOU, both sides have been able to meet thrice, Your Excellency, and considerable progress has been achieved. Similarly, Your Excellency, the newly formed, newly constituted NDC of Uganda and NDC of India are discussing a memorandum of understanding, Your Excellency, and I am very glad to inform Your Excellency that that is progressing very well. There have been also progress in certain procurement from Bharat Electronic Limited for Ugandan Defence Forces, and delegation from Uganda has visited recently to India, and they had a very a good discussion as well as sites, the factory visits to witness the manufacture, the process themselves to gain a first-hand experience. In addition to this, Your Excellency, the training of Ugandan forces by India, that has been an ongoing process, and every year around 40 officers from UPDF goes to India to get trained in our various institutions, Your Excellency. So this is in a nutshell the recent progress in our bilateral relations and defense cooperation, Your Excellency. I once again thank Your Excellency for giving this opportunity for the High Commission, the Indian delegation from NDC, as well as our IMAT placed in Jinja. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Your Excellency, please allow me to begin with to thank you on behalf of my delegation, having given us the opportunity to listen to you and interact with you. We are indeed honored. My name is Brigadier A.K. Pundir. I am the delegation leader of this 62nd NDC delegation, which comprises of 15 other officers and 10 spouses. Every year, sir, NDC sends out various groups for the study tour. This year, 8 such groups are currently doing study tour in various parts of the world. This team has spent 4 days in your beautiful country, and we are very eager to listen to Your Excellency.
Brigadier General Gureme and the Brigadier General heading the Indian military team, His Excellency the High Commissioner, and all the members of the delegation. You are most welcome to Uganda, and when I see you, I can't avoid telling you about Africa, because many people don't know much about Africa. As Brigadier Gureme hinted, Africa is the origin of man. All human beings started here. Even you are former Africans. 4.5 million years ago, this man evolved here in East Africa, actually, because it was the ideal place where he could evolve. Why? Because it was grassland next to forest. Because from here you go to the huge African forest, the forest of the Congo Basin. But here, East Africa, the plateau, where we are now is a plateau. Where you are sitting is like 1,200 meters above sea level. That's why the River Nile starts from here and goes down to Egypt, because Egypt is at the sea level. So this plateau of East Africa is where man evolved for some reason, because man had three characteristics that distinguished him from other animals. First of all, and that's why East Africa was important for him to evolve, he was bipedal, walking on two legs. Yeah. All other animals were walking on four legs, or climbing in trees, or crawling on the ground. But this human being was able to stand on two legs. And that's why the grassland was important, because in the forest, you can't stand on the four legs. In the forest, you must swing in the trees. But here, if you stand on two legs, you are able to see far. It improves your vision. So that bipedalism, we think, was assisted by the grassland of East Africa. And then, of course, he had a superior brain. When we say superior brain, we don't mean that it was bigger than the one of the elephant. No, the elephant has got a bigger brain, but it is made, the human brain is made in such a way that the cortex has got more folds. The cover of the brain has got more convolutions, and that's why it is able to reason, unlike all the other animals which depend on instinct. So the primer of change in society is the development of science and technology. When science and technology develop, then there are concomitant changes in society. That's why the invention of fire 1.5 million years ago, because before that there was no fire. Man had not invented fire. And human beings were staying in trees. They were tree dwellers. And the trees were not very comfortable. Because in the trees, the rain, the cold, the mosquitoes. But when man invented fire, he could now go into the caves. The caves were more comfortable than the trees. So that change, progress in science and technology was very big change of society. Because with the fire, man could go to the caves and light the caves, warm them, chase the snakes which were in the caves, and the cave was more comfortable than the tree. The cave was more comfortable than the tree because it was sheltered. Then the invention of agriculture, the science to domesticate crops, because for a long time man was a gatherer and hunting in the bush, and gathering wild seeds, wild foods. But with the knowledge that you can take some of the seeds and plant them and control the time of growing, was very big revolution, the agricultural revolution, the domestication of plants, of food crops. Then you had the domestication of animals, livestock, the cows. Instead of looking for them in the bush, you bring them and these were all big innovations which affected society. Then you have the invention of gunpowder, which caused a lot of good and bad things in the world. The societies which lagged behind in the invention of gunpowder paid a dear price. Actually, gunpowder was invented by the Chinese long ago, but they didn't weaponize it. They were using it for amusement. It was the Europeans who started weaponizing gunpowder, and that's how they gained advantage over the other people. And you know the damage that was the negative things which were caused by the unbalanced spread of the knowledge of gunpowder, and so on. So you can go stage by stage the invention of the printing press. I have written some of the articles. They can give you the booklets on that story of how man evolved and how man society is always evolving, influenced by the developments in science and technology. But therefore, and this is what I've been advising some of these people, like the people who are fighting now in Ukraine and Russia, they behave as if society has started today. Society has not started today. We have been here for 4.5 million years. So please calm down. People are fighting for ideology, this one, capitalism, communism. Shut up. Don't waste our time. Man has been through a lot. So if you have developed a bit, good for you. Don't try to impose your ideas on other people. They will see and catch up also. And that's what I've been telling some of our people, our friends. They say, oh, the rise of China, that the rise of China is a problem. How is it a problem? Huh? They see it as a problem. The rise of China, they put it there. You are worried, you have got blood pressure? That China has come out of poverty? That India has come out of poverty? That Africa is coming out of poverty? There's something wrong with your analysis. They talk of strategic rival, that there is a strategic rival. You have heard those descriptions. This is absolute rubbish, in my opinion, because what is happening is the more universal spread of knowledge, instead of knowledge being concentrated only, modern knowledge being only in a few places, it's now spreading out. And this is good. Because if you go to 1970, prosperity, affluence was only in very few places on the globe. It was in Western Europe, North America, and Japan. That's why you had affluence, wealth. But now, affluence has spread to India, to China, even to Africa to some extent, to some of the ASEAN countries, South Korea, Vietnam, Indonesia. Affluence is spreading. And this is good for everybody. Because like we in Africa, I can give you data. In 1986, I tried to promote the development of our steel industry. Our steel industry. And I was told, no. There is a glut, G-L-U-T, glut, too much. There's a glut of steel in the world. So don't bother. And it was true. That time, the price of a ton of steel was only $200. Why? Because the people who were building good houses in the world were very few. That's why the price of steel was down. The price of copper had actually collapsed. Some of the countries which depended on copper had a lot of problems, like Zambia. The price was down. But when modernization started happening in China, in India, in Indonesia, in other places, the price of steel went to $900 a ton. Why? Because more people are building better houses, more permanent houses. They are building more dams in the world, which need steel. They are building the railways, the railway systems, which need steel. The price of copper went up. The price of cement went up. Why? Because of more spread of affluence. So therefore, the line of thinking of saying that when the whole world comes up, when the whole world becomes richer, that there is a problem for anybody must be treated with contempt. It should not waste our time. It's a wrong thinking, and it should be rejected. And I have told some of our friends that please stop this. Now about the politics, these are communists. These are this group. Fine. But at least the material level of society in the world is coming up. And as it comes up, the possibility of solving the political problems is better than when everybody was democratically poor. Because when people are democratically poor, how are you going to solve governance issues? How would you solve governance issues when everybody is very poor, living in shacks, disease, what? So prosperity, actually, even for the political strategies, prosperity improves. It doesn't automatically mean better governance. You can have improved material welfare, but still some problems of governance. But still, in my opinion, it is much easier for a prosperous society to deal with the issue of governance than a backward and poor society. So that's what I want to comment on what Brigadier Gureme was talking about, the issue of the evolution of man and the evolution of society. Because both of them have been evolving. Man evolved, then the society which he created also evolved. It is an interesting story. But because you are from so far away, I can't resist the temptation to tell you a bit about Africa. Because Africa is very confusing for outsiders. Africa, as I told you, is the origin of man. All human beings started here. But the population in Africa did not grow as much as the population of out of Africa. Why? Because Africa, with the low level of technology, was good for both man, but also good for his enemies also. for man's enemies. The mosquito, the tsetse fly, the bacteria. This climate is good for both man and his enemies. Because you can stay here, you don't have to, even if you don't have very warm clothes, you can survive, survive. But also the enemies of man, the mosquito, the bacteria, the tsetse fly. So that's why the population in Africa did not grow so fast. Even today, India is 12 times smaller than Africa, but even today the population of India is slightly more than the population of the whole of Africa. And yet Africa is 12 times bigger in land area and with a lot of resources, a lot of natural resources. The problem was, the problem is that Africa is really underpopulated. Up to today, Africa is underpopulated. You take a place like a country like Congo, Kinshasa. If you check on your internet, you will see that the land area of Congo is almost as big as India. India is 1 million square miles. Congo is about 900,000 something, almost 1 million. But the population of Congo even today is only 80 million people. So there is that issue of the population of Africa. But with modern technology, population is now growing very fast. In 1960, population of Africa was like 400 million. But it's now 1.3 billion. And by 2050, it will be 2.5 billion. It will be the biggest population in the world. So population is now coming up. And therefore, Africa definitely will be a very big player in the world. Now, secondly, I need to inform you that many people who don't understand Africa think, and the commentators who don't know much, they talk about Africa as having many tribes, many groups. It's actually not true. Africa has got only 4 groups, 4 linguistic groups. One group is called the Niger-Congo group of languages. These are the languages all the way from West Africa up to here, up to South Africa. That's why you'll find that some of the words I use here in Uganda are similar to the words Mandela would be using in South Africa. It's because it is one language with just different dialects. Some of the dialects are very close, like the ones around the lake here. They are very close. I can understand what the other person is saying, although he's saying it in a slightly different way. But also, that's one group, the Niger-Congo group of languages. It must be covering something like 700 million or so people. Then you have the Nilo-Saharan group of languages. These are the languages of southern Ethiopia, northern Sudan, northern Uganda, northern Kenya, northern Congo, parts of Central Africa, parts of even the northern parts of Nigeria. Those are called the Nilo-Saharan, like the Oromo in southern Ethiopia, and Somali, those are part of that language group. The third language group are what we call the Afro-Asiatic. The Afro-Asiatic are Arabic, like in Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, and Mauritania, and Morocco. And then also the languages of northern Ethiopia, Tigray and Amhara, they are part of that, and Eritrea, they are part of what we call the Afro-Asiatic. And then we have got a small language group of what they call Bushmen in South Africa. It's an ancient language for a small group. But the good chance for Africa is that we also have a neutral language, a language which belongs to nobody. When our groups met on the East African coast many centuries ago, they developed a neutral language by taking from this tribe, that tribe. This is called Swahili. So Swahili is a language that doesn't belong to any tribe. It is a neutral language which got words from mainly the Niger Congo, but also from the Afro-Asiatic and from the other, even from Hindi. Some words were picked from Hindi, I hear. Like, I'm trying to, like Rupiah. Rupiah is a language from Rupee. But people here say Rupiah. They change it, but it means that city. Some of the language. I think city must be a word from India. So, Dukani.
Dobby. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So the Swahili was picking from all this, and then it's now very useful because it avoids the jealous of languages. To say, oh, you are speaking Museveni's language instead of so and so. No. This is neutral. It belongs to nobody. That's why it is strategically very important. So, that is Africa. But Africa was mismanaged. First of all, by the traditional chiefs, and later on by the manipulation of the colonialists, and even some of the independence African leaders. But along the way, new forces came on the scene, spearheaded by the student movements of the 1960s. And that's where some of us come from. When we came on the scene, we had three issues which were on the forefront. Issue number one: how do we ensure prosperity of our people? Because our people must be prosperous, must get out of poverty. And in order to ensure prosperity, you must produce a good or a service which you sell. Because you can't be prosperous by begging. If you beg, you cannot sustainably be prosperous. So how does the family, forget about the country, even the family or a community, how do they become prosperous? You produce a good or a service in which you excel and you sell it. You sell that good or service. Somebody buys it. So you need two players. You need a producer of a good or a service, and a consumer, a buyer. Now, when we, so that is the basic. That was our starting point. But before our time, people, our leaders and the chiefs were emphasizing the politics of identity. Politics of identity. I am this tribe. I am that tribe. I am this religion. I am that religion. Identity was more important for them. But when we came, we said, but you people, are you not misdirecting our people? Like, for instance, in my tribe, we are cattle people. We own cows. We are cow people. So we produce, in the modern system, we produce milk, we produce beef, we also produce bananas. Now, the problem we have is that all the people in my area produce the same product. I produce beef, my neighbor produces beef. I produce milk, my neighbor produces milk. I produce bananas, my neighbor produces bananas. He cannot buy from me, I cannot buy from him. So, yes, we are the same identity, we are the same tribe, we speak the same dialect, but he cannot easily support my prosperity, nor can I support his. Why? Because we are producing similar products. So that's why we said, you people, are you not misleading our people by emphasizing identity? And you forget interests? Interests? What is more primary, identity or interests? Yes, in some cases, when identity is under attack, it can become important. Like, for instance, in South Africa, when the whites were saying that Africans should not come to this hotel or something like that, Africans are not allowed here. Or in the US, if somebody makes it an issue, yes, we must defend identity. So, like me, a cattleman, my neighbors don't buy my milk. They don't buy my beef. They don't buy my bananas. I'm from the west of the country. Who are the people who buy my milk and buy my beef and buy my bananas? The people of Kampala, who belong to a different cultural group. They are the ones who buy my milk and buy my beef and buy my bananas. So when you come to my place and you find that I've got a good house, or I'm living well, it is because of the people of Uganda who buy my products. And I also buy theirs. I support their prosperity, they support mine, because the people in the east, in Jinja, where those people, the staff college is, they grow sugar cane. They produce sugar. I don't produce sugar, but I buy the sugar produced by the people in the east, in Jinja. So that's why our movement, our political movement said, no, you people, don't overemphasize identity unnecessarily. Unless identity is under attack, don't forget interests. Interests include market for my product, to buy what I produce. And I buy what you produce. I support your prosperity, you support mine. by my pocket. I buy your product, you buy mine. And that's how we are prosperous. So that's why we said no. For us, our principle number one in politics is patriotism. Love Uganda. Love Uganda. Don't tell me to love my tribe more than I love Uganda. Because Uganda is the one which will solve my problems of prosperity. So that's principle number one. When people are asleep, it is also good. Because when you are asleep, you don't know what a snake can come and enter the house and bite you, and you die peacefully because you don't know, you are not aware. But when you are awake, you know, you get more worried. If snake comes, you must fight. So our people here, when they were asleep, intoxicated by tribes and religion, because there was also issue of religion between the Catholics, the Protestants, the Muslims, the what. They were all diverted in those fights. But when we came, we said, no, you people, you are fighting people who could be your helpers, who can buy what you produce. You are destroying your market by fighting intersectarian fights. Because this Catholic or Protestant or Muslim will buy my milk. He will support my prosperity. So people woke up a bit, and Uganda at that time, especially after Idi Amin, Idi Amin, you must have heard how Idi Amin expelled our Indians here. We had some small Indian group here, about 80,000. That time, Idi Amin, in his confusion, chased them, expelled them. And they were very crucial because they were the business class, they were the entrepreneurs. For us who were farmers, for them they were shopkeepers. So they were supplementing us. Actually, they were complementarity. They were doing what we were not doing. For me, I'm a cattleman. I have no time to spend the whole day in the shop waiting for buyers. I'm in the bush with cows. This Indian here, my Indian people in my village, there were 4 families, four Indian families and 2 Arabs. They were the shopkeepers. For us, we were cows and crops. And they would be the ones to bring things from far, textile, what, and we buy from them. So Idi Amin chased them, and the economy was in big trouble. There were a lot of shortages. But when we came and we brought back some of those who wanted to come back, but also created a new situation, and people began knowing what to do, and they started the production. So in no time, we, the milk producers, were producing enough milk to satisfy the internal market of Uganda, but to remain with the big surplus. So, too much milk, too much maize, what they call corn in other languages, too much sugar, too much industrial products. So we said, okay, what do we do now? Because we told you, patriotism, love Uganda. But even Uganda is not enough. It's not enough to support our prosperity, because you see, Africa has got the problem of excessive balkanization, excessive political fragmentation. Africa has got 54 countries. If you look at North North American continent, there are only 3 countries there: Canada, United States, and Mexico. The only other continent which is competing with us in balkanization is South America. It has got something like 16 or so countries. And the other country which competes with the other continent which competes with us in balkanization is Western Europe. Those small countries, Slovenia, one village, then they call it a country, then Czech, very fragmented. Now, that one has got a problem for prosperity. Because if you, and this is the big problem of South America. South America is a very rich continent in terms of natural resources: land, soil, good soil, forests, big rivers. The biggest river in the world, the Amazon, South America, minerals, energy, petroleum. Some of them have petroleum, but now you see them suffering, walking to the US, running off from poverty in a rich continent, but which is badly organized politically. So that's why here we told our people, say, please, principle number 1 of our movement is patriotism. But principle number 2 is Pan-Africanism. You must think of Africa as a united continent. Pan-Africanism. Market integration, we must integrate the whole of Africa economically if we want to be prosperous. So that when I produce a product, it has got enough buyers. Not only the ones in Uganda, but the ones in East Africa, the ones in Central Africa, and we have now also inaugurated what we call the FTA, the CFTA, Continental Free Trade Area for the whole of Africa. So this is the second principle of our movement, Pan-Africanism. Now the third one is socio-economic transformation. We must have a modern society. Because of the science and technology, the one which is the primer for social change, we cannot remain with the old science and technology and we think that we can cope and survive in the world. So that's why we emphasize education, especially science education, and which would trigger the socio-economic transformation, and then democracy. So these 3 will deal with the issue of prosperity. These 4 will deal with the issue of prosperity. How can the Africans be prosperous? We must answer that question of prosperity. Prosperity through production and sale of what you produce. But then there's the second issue, the issue of strategic security. How can the Africans survive in the modern world? Because some of the countries in the world, they talk of 4-dimensional superiority. The US has been talking about that. They want to be superior in the land forces, superior in the air force, superior in the navy, and superior in space. Where does that leave other people? When you are just Uganda here, you are like an ant. Somebody is in space looking at you when you are just here like a cockroach. That one we cannot accept. So that the part of the Pan-Africanism is to aggregate our countries into units which can be able to go into all those dimensions: land, air, sea, and space. We need to go to space and see what people are doing there. What are you doing in space? We can't just be here on Earth when other people are in space. We are not going to accept that. So finally, we say, but for us, we are lucky. Because as I told you at the beginning, these Europeans get problems in integration. Because when they try to integrate the Germans, the Polish, the English, you see the English have walked out of the European Union. They don't have one language. But for us, we are lucky. We have Swahili, which is a dialect which belongs to nobody. And that's why we are pushing our project of economic and in some cases where possible, even political integration, so that we solve the issue of the market, but also solve the problem of strategic security. Women holding high offices. This was ideological, because you remember I told you that we rejected the politics of identity. Politics of identity of religion and tribe. What I did not add, there was also an element of gender chauvinism. Gender chauvinism. If you look at our parliament of 1962, there were only 3 women in that parliament. At independence, actually one of them was an Indian, a Ugandan Indian lady called Visaram. She was called Visaram. Visaram, a granddaughter of Aldina Visaram, one of the Indians who had come here very early. She was one of the 3 women in a parliament which was 90 that time, 90 MPs. And yet, the women in Uganda are more than the men. They are like 52% of the population. The men are like 48, 49%. So you had really minority rule. We are fighting with the whites in South Africa against minority rule there, but we had minority rule here. So that's why we said, no, this one is not. It was a conscious decision. We said, no, there must be affirmative action. I think the women are not many. At one time, they were like 14. Maybe they are like 20 out of 340 something. So that's why we said, no, this is not true democracy. Yes, the women have participated in the law of the jungle, survival of the fittest, and we have got 14 or 20 of them. We shall get the exact figures. But now, we need reserved seats for women only per district. Thank you so much.
Even with my grandson, a doctor at my side, I struggled to get the help I needed. But he saw something that day. He began to work day and night. He wouldn't quit, even when people said no. He wouldn't stop fighting. He knew something had to change, and his vision was bigger than anyone could imagine. He made it possible to receive quality medical services anywhere in Uganda by simply using a phone.
This is a story of a regular Ugandan just like you, who harnessed the power of technology to provide a solution for us. How about you tell us your story? UG needs more of you. To share your story, visit airtel.co.ug/UG needs more of you or call or SMS 162. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Honorable Joyce Nabosa Sebugwawo, the Minister of State for ICT, announces the death of her son, Ronald Daniel Sebugwawo, which occurred today, 11th of June 2022. There will be a vigil on Sunday and Monday evenings at her home in Nalia, Kampala. Funeral service will be on Wednesday at Namirembe Cathedral at 10 a.m. and thereafter burial at Bukorwa Village in Kumba in Entebbe at 2 p.m. Informed His Excellency the President, His Excellency the Vice President, Right Honorable Prime Minister, Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, the Katikkiro of Uganda, the Archbishop Church of Uganda, Honorable Members of Parliament, members of Mothers Union, relatives, friends, and in-laws.
Water gives life. Water is life. But not all water is created equal. Refresh yourself with the new quality Nirvana packaged drinking water and fuel you and your passion to go further in life.
Visit a shop near you and grab a 250 ml at 500 shillings, 500 ml at 1000 shillings, 1.5 liters at 2000 shillings, or the 20-liter jumbo bottle. Nirvana is a product of Crown Beverages Limited, the makers of Pepsi products.
The Tales of Kasozi, brought to you by Uganda Communications Commission.
Hello, this is Kasozi. How can I help you?
Congratulations. Oh, one good day.
Good day? But I haven't entered any competition.
Owadechi, since you use your phone every day, we have randomly selected you as one of our loyal customers, and you have won a brand new pickup.
Hey, so how do I get this pickup?
The pickup is in Namave. All we have to do is quickly bring it to you. You know, we are delivering many of them. So, just send us 100k for fuel via mobile money and we'll bring it to you.
But Chief, I'm in no hurry to receive it. Namambe is just here. Keep it at your warehouse, give me directions and I will get time to pick it up.
If you don't have money, just say.
Tonfera. Never send money to strangers. Winners of competitions are contacted through official channels and are never asked to pay for anything. Stay tuned for what Kasozi does next.
Tonfera. Refrain from unnecessary engagements with strangers over the phone. This message is powered by UCC, MTN, Airtel, Bank of Uganda, and NPSP Association.
The Oil and Gas Moment, brought to you by Petroleum Authority of Uganda, creating lasting value in Uganda's oil journey. In order to be contracted to supply goods and services for oil activities in Uganda, you must register on the National Suppliers Database. Between 2017 and 2021,